Holy moly, no pump fakin'. This was a very fun chapter for me to write, and I hope that you enjoy reading it as much as I enjoyed writing it. There was a part of me that for a while wanted to name the book Holy Moly, No Pump Faking, just because it's funny, but I decided not to. Probably good, because I bet there's people like me who didn't know what the term meant. And so this is a conversation that starts this chapter between Aaron and I, in which he's sharing some of his lingo with me, and then I use the term holy moly, and that gets him laughing because he doesn't hear that in his circle of friends. And he tells me, oh, holy moly, that's so white girl. And so I think what we find is that when we have a diverse group of friends, it brings a richness to our life, whether that is in new expressions or different ways of doing things, or maybe it's foods that we wouldn't otherwise be exposed to. And so it enriches our life, not just because it makes it more enjoyable for us, but then it bridges the gap for the next person that we meet. So then I could use a term like pump fakin', and I could use that term with someone else that I encountered that allowed me to make a connection with someone that maybe I was struggling to make a connection with, and it helped them to see that, oh, maybe she understands me more than I thought she did. Or maybe it just allowed us to have a laugh, and then it kind of broke an awkward moment, and then it opened up an opportunity for me to get to know someone else. And so we can use this technique over and over when we are meeting new people. And the more diverse our group of friends is, the more it allows us to be able to experience not only more facets of society for ourselves, but it opens doorways for us to more and more opportunities by the different people that we meet. So when Aaron says to me, holy moly, that's so white girl, that reminds me, it takes me back to this situation that happened to me when I was in college. And this was a situation. I was a freshman in college, I met a new friend, and she invites me out with her group of friends for the evening. And when I get there, I was the only white person in the group. And someone else in the group says loudly, kind of across the room, "Who's the white girl?" And this is a good experience for me because it makes me stop and think, oh, I don't have the opportunity to be a minority very often. As a white person, I'm usually in the majority. So when this happens to me, it causes me to pause. Of course, immediately I feel intimidated. I feel like I'm selecting my words a little bit more cautiously, and I just want to blend in. And so the evening goes on and we have a good time and everything. But what I realize when Aaron uses this phrase is that when he uses it and we're in this safe place of friendship, of mutual respect, we can both laugh about it, right? And it's fine. There's no problem with it at all. But when I'm in a different situation with it and I'm singled out, then it takes on a much different context. Later on in the chapter, I go to talk a little bit about how we can begin, each of us can begin to address racism in our everyday interactions. And I think one of the things that we can do, especially if we do not get to experience the minority very often. So if you're white, probably you're hardly ever in the minority. And I think it's a valuable space for us to be in because it reminds us what our friends, our coworkers go through. And so I like to put myself in this situation from time to time where I'm the minority. And it reminds me what my friends experience. So that allows me to be a little bit more sensitive to them, a little bit more aware. It also, for me, it reminds me of what my children experience as well. So I think it's good for all of us to be aware of what that feels like to be in that position and then how we react so that when we are in the majority, we can be more of a bridge to reach out to someone in the minority and to know what it feels like to be in that position. And I like this concept because it's something you and I can do right tomorrow, right? So you might be thinking, well, my circle of friends really is not very diverse. And that, of course, that's something you can seek out and work on changing. But you can, if you want to look for a place to start to be in the minority. You can start with places like the grocery store you go to or the gas station you go to. Start with those type of spaces and just observe and notice what it feels like to be in those spaces. And then of course you can join other groups at gyms, at in your workspace. You can seek out friendships with people who are a different race than you, and it's a good place for us to be.